Yeah, add to it. Right here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. What is going on, everyone? Griffin here, coming at you with some Lancer gameplay, and today we're going to talk about a dynamic map system. So let's head over and check that out. So a couple of weeks ago, we got a This Week in Rogue Company that was kind of hinting at what the next update was going to be. And in that This Week in Rogue Company, they introduced to us the Mythic Crates in all core modes, which went over about as well as you could possibly imagine, where the community really did not like this change all that much. And in context, now knowing what we know, it makes sense why they wanted to introduce these changes. But I feel like in that video and in several other places that I have mentioned, that they could do things to make the matches and the maps play a little bit differently. And introducing Mythic Crates feels like the cheap, easy way to get out of actually doing something very cool, very interesting, and very unique to the game. And one of those things is dynamic maps. I think that the maps in the game are very well designed. I think that the maps are very interesting. They're very unique. They all have very recognizable locales, but they don't feel like it's the same rehash of a map over and over and over again. Whenever you look at a map like Favelas, and then whenever you look at the smaller skirmish map that's kind of modeled after the idea of Favelas, I can't remember what the name of it is, but it feels like it takes place in the same world, but it doesn't feel like they just cut a section of a map out and then inserted it over here somewhere else. And I feel like dynamic maps could realistically take the game to the next level. They want to add like secondary objectives, you know, during the match that you're playing. And in my opinion, whenever you're playing Demolition, you really don't have time for secondary objectives. You're more or less creating these bottlenecks on the map where you're forcing team fights and engagements to happen. That's basically what the Mythic Crates would have done in a Demolition sense of the word. It would have caused a bottleneck to that Mythic Crate, and you would be fighting over whatever is inside of that Mythic Crate, and it just wouldn't feel right. It feels like it's prioritizing where you need to go for you as a team. Of course, you don't have to stick to that. You could always like rotate somewhere else. You could always like take the flank on it, but once you pick something up out of that Mythic Crate, it's going to be so impactful to the match that it was just going to throw everything completely out of balance. So it kind of forced you to actually fight over it and to try to pick that weapon or that piece of armor up. But with dynamic maps, that's something that either the defenders or the attackers could take full advantage of. That would be something that if things aren't going the way that it needs to go, you need to make a quick escape, or you're trying to push an objective and you need to cause a distraction, or you need to get a little bit more cover on the field or something like that, you could trigger these dynamic map instances and cause the map to change dynamically as you're playing on it. For example, like you could put ramps in certain places that could be triggered where you shoot certain things and it would cause the ramps to fall to allow you easier access to like higher levels in the map. Or you could have something hanging above the map that you could actually shoot or trigger, and it would actually cause something to fall onto the map like rocks or something like that, and it would actually provide you more cover and could possibly net you a down if someone is standing in that particular location. I know this would be a little bit harder and a little bit more chaotic for respawn modes, but that's kind of what those modes already are. They're very chaotic and they're very out of control, so I don't think that it would be too much of a mix-up. But I think specifically in Demolition, if you want the match to feel a little bit different, if you want the map to actually flow the way that you want it to flow, and you have some type of control over what you're doing, then the dynamic map system will be the way to go, in my opinion. Let's take a look at Vice. Back in the day, when Vice was originally released, there was no staircase on that, B plant site, right? There was no staircase there. There was a vault wall there. There was a vault wall on the other side, and the people that were actually pushing down alleyway had full cover, and someone that wanted to actually drop in had to vault the wall and put themselves in danger, right? Then they went in and they changed the map up and they put a staircase in there and opened it up to where people could easily access that, so that the team that was rushing that plant site didn't have full cover until they got into the latter part of the alleyway there. If you had a dynamic map system, you could trigger that half cover to actually fall and turn into a ramp, which is more or less basically the same thing as the staircase now. So that would be something that as a defender, you would want to trigger that to happen to see if something was coming that way. But if you're an attacker, you would want to try to prevent that from happening. So there's a lot of different ways and there's a lot of different things that you could do, because think about it. If you put a sniper on DJ booth to stop someone from pressing a button that is on the wall next to where the staircase is now, then you're taking someone out of the push, but you're also protecting your team to get up to that point where they can actually plant the bomb. But if there's a team fight that happens there, you're one man down. Realistically, it would be like a 2v3 situation, but it may not be. It may be more of a 4v2 situation or a 4v3 situation whenever the entire defending team actually rotates into that area. So this adds a little bit more of an interesting way to think of how you're going to approach these types of situations. Another dynamic map feature that's already in the game that I don't think is utilized correctly is on Factory. Factory has the dust storms, and they come in at random. Sometimes they stay for like the entirety of the match, like the entirety of the game almost, and it feels very weird. Sometimes you don't see them for days on end. If there was something that could either cause that to trigger, or whenever you're actually playing a match, if there was a time limit where whenever you reached a specific time within the overall match itself, and we knew that as players, then you could actually use that as your benefit and cause it to be a little bit heavier, cause it to obscure your vision a little bit more. You know, things like this is going to make the game feel completely different. It's going to make the game flow in a completely different way, and it's going to allow different opportunities for defending or for attacking. And this is something that I'm very passionate about, because like I said, I do like the map design, but if they went in and if they added a couple of small little changes and things into the maps that you could actually trigger on command by doing something in the match, I feel like it could change the game in a very, very good way. And I think that that would add more interesting, ways to play each individual match. That would cause it to feel different every time that you played it. The biggest one that I would like to see is favelas. Whenever the defending team drops into favelas, they can actually see where the attacking team is rotating from that little open area between the two buildings right there, right? You can see it as soon as you fall in. You see exactly where they're rotating to from that vantage point. I would like to see a ramp put up there. And like it just be like a straight up piece of like metal or whatever it is. And then it could be something that if you want to snipe from that vantage point, or if you want to see exactly where the team's rotating to, you fall in, you trigger that thing to drop down, you can see. But it's a ramp at that point. That means that if you want to flank and you don't want to go all the way through the other plant site to try to flank up behind them, you have a ramp there that you can actually utilize. That means you can pad step up the ramp. Nobody's going to be able to hear you, and you can actually get to the team that much quicker. See, it's a give and take. It's a back and forth. It's a risk versus reward, right? And this is the things that I'm talking about. Let's steer clear of like these very easy, very simple ways of like trying to make the game feel different and interesting and unique. And let's focus more on very creative ways to make these things happen. And I think that the team over there has what it takes. I think that they've just taken the easy road for so long that they really don't want to put the time or effort into making something like this happen. But I think that if they did, the game would be in a much better state. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you feel like a dynamic map system would actually make the game feel different, fresh, and completely out of left field each match that you're playing? Or do you think that it would be just a complete cluster and that it would cause the game to feel like just terrible? Be sure to let me know what you think. Also, be sure to check the description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. And if you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, on Thursdays from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. Central Time, I will be streaming here on YouTube. So if you're interested, please stop by, play a couple of custom matches with us. And then on Sundays from 10 a.m. until we get tired, my wife and I are doing a We Play series. So if you're interested, please stop by and say hello. Thanks for watching, guys.
On that corner, they're moving. Already moving.
Hill contested. Hill contested.
Alright, I'm getting fucking smoke grenade so we can at least smoke it and contest it.
Oh, they're all over it.
No. Contesting it.
Controlled.
Look at that powerful ass shit.
Hill contested.
You're still on it contesting it. That's stupid as fuck. Alright, this is the last point.
Another contract.
Yeah, boy.
Mission accomplished. Now, anyone up for a race? Need help.
Bitches. How many points you get? Oh, this is qualifying.
Yeah, they reset the
Don't
rank
get
thing.
points yet.
Yeah. All right, here's what I'll say, and I said this in the video that I made. 60 seconds for each point is not enough time.
Yeah, it seems kind of rushed, man. I mean, as soon
Yeah.
as you get there and set up, you got to run somewhere else. Like,
Yeah. You
I
fight.
do like it all being one round.
I like that a lot too.
Yeah.
And here was my things that I said in that video that I made earlier. Get rid of the money piles. Just give us the money directly. Fuck the money piles. It's too much shit that's laying around on the
Yeah.
fucking screen. It's causing problems with your fucking servers. Get rid of it. Make the fucking points rotate every 90 seconds instead of every 60 seconds.